Morning and welcome back to the channel. Today on this brisk morning, somebody's binned it. A McGahn is off the track, a door is open, his hazards on, something's happened. Anyways, you join me on this brisk morning here at Redstar Raceway in Delmas for one of the rounds of the Vilaca Time Attack series. Okay, so that's good. At least it looks like that's the McGahn that went off, by the way. It looks like they will not need a recovery. I think they just went off and chowed some tires. Maybe they hit the curb a bit wrong, but doesn't look like it was too dramatic. I'm not sure what's happened there, but it does look like they killed a front tire on that thing. So they just reclassed. The cars on track right now are Group 1. And Group 1 is certainly an interesting bunch this time around because I see a couple of Supras, a couple of Subarus, an Audi TT, a Porsche 911, GT3, an older GT3, and a Hyundai. And I hope I can get it on camera later today, but that grey Subaru also has an HK super sequential blower valve on it. It's that whistly blower valve that some of you might know from the orange Supra from the first Fast and Furious. They just always sound so cool. I hope I can get one for the Cadet. Obviously I won't be able to afford a real one because they're like there's one on the second-hand market now for like 4 grand, 5 grand. I'm probably going to get a fake one because the Opal doesn't run a blower valve currently anyways. That's why it's got so much turbo flutter. You don't really need a blower valve. It's not, depending who you ask at least, it's not vital to the functioning of the vehicle. So I'm probably going to get like a cheap 600 rand, 800 rand fake one and hope that it makes sort of kind of the right noises. If it doesn't, I'll just disconnect it and keep it in my cupboard indefinitely. The laps here on Redstar seem to be quite long. I quite look forward to experiencing that once the Opal is running, because I've only really ever driven on Swartkops, which has quite a short lap, and some would argue that Swartkops is quite boring as well. Some would argue that, and I mean I can get where they're coming from, but then again Swartkops sort of has its own thing to it, where it can catch you out, where a few things are a bit hair raising. In particular that sticks out for most people is corner 1, 2, corner 3. It's a very long sweeper that really gets on some people's nerves, but I quite look forward to Redstar. It seems like it would be definitely the most challenging track that I'll have access to. So the turnout for today is quite good. Clearly everybody wanted to come down to Redstar because a very good variety of cars has shown up. Here's a little M4 competition. That's a couple of clips right there. So with the variety of cars that showed up today, I figured I'd take a walk around the pits to have a look at the cars that showed up. This is quite an interesting car with the NACA ducts in the rear doors. I assume these go to, I think, oil coolers for a dry sump, I think, maybe. Other than the obvious modifications like the holes in the lights, all the holes everywhere else, and the aero that is easy to see with the wide body and the big holes in the doors, it's clear to see that a lot of tinkering has gone into this car. Down to a little gurney flap right there, the really very cool, extremely expensive looking carbon fiber aero, I don't know what you call these, just aerodynamic mirrors. A little polo right here. Just look at how they have gone about fitting the widest tires they possibly could. They just rolled the fenders, bumpers, everything to oblivion to see how much rubber they physically can fit in this thing. Bunch of people coming in from the last session just now. You can smell the rubber and the brakes. Now there are lots of blatantly, obviously very cool cars here, but if you take a look at this little Forester, this is something a bit more subtle. Very clearly a sleeper until you start looking a bit closer at it, because from afar it just looks like a little wagon, and then, oh, what's that? Is that water meth? That's clearly a very big, a very large turbo. And then if you look in the back of it, it's a bit obscured. I don't know if you can see it all too well. It's also got a full dry sump system and remote reservoirs on the damper. So it's got some trick suspension, or rather fancy suspension in it. Clearly lots of work has gone into this car. I just came to have a closer look at the Subaru because I haven't seen pipe work quite like this on one of these yet. And as I was looking closer, look at this. That is quite the rarity. 10 automatic dampening adjusters. So this, if I'm not mistaken, has a little console inside the car which you fiddle with, and then these little servos on the dampers do all of the adjustments for you. And I have a great appreciation for all different kinds of gadgetry, so that's something that I would love to incorporate in the Opal, but I don't think that that would be a possibility, because I think those systems are only compatible with actual teen coilovers, which don't exist for my car. Well, in South Africa at least, no coilovers exist for my car. I have to get a set custom made. And hiding away in the corner here is a 350Z, a little GT86 that's got some trickery done to it. Oh yeah, it's still naturally aspirated. And then right next to these, you've got easily one of the craziest cars that frequents these Vilaca events. This basically has everything done to it, from trick suspension to trick aero, all of the weight reduction, carbon fiber frames on the seats. It's got a Hydra handbrake, it seems. That's interesting. This is very clearly a full-blown balls-to-the-wall time attack car. That is a full-blown no-nonsense build. It's running a RB25 DET. It's not a GTR, it's rear-wheel drive. I think it's the GT-ST. Yeah, the R34 is on the GTT, R32 is still the GT-ST, yeah, I think. And here we have a whole lineup of TTs. These are almost like a cheat code in the Vilaca series. They just do consistently really well. This one in particular, the supercharged 3.2 litre VR6, is always fun to watch, especially at like Formula K, because you can really very clearly see how the driver throws this thing's weight around. It's front wheel drive, so you really need to actually toss around the rear end a bit to get it to rotate, and it's really fun to watch them do that. I don't know what it is about this M2, maybe the color. I haven't seen it in this orange before, but it's probably the wheels. These wheels are just, oh, that's a good looking set of wheels. But I saw this earlier on track, and I mean, the M2 in general is a good looking car, but there's something about this particular one and this combo that just does it for me. Oh, and next to the BMW, there's another BMW parked right next to it. Ho. Quite frankly, I'll never understand all of the hoozapala of all the guys going, oh no, fuck the Supra, it's just a BMW, it's a BMW engine. Has it? Oh no, it's a BMW chassis, and it's all the parts that have BMW logos on them, and. Really, what's the problem with it, honestly? Because BMW, they make, point in case, they don't exactly make the worst cars in the world, neither do Toyota, and it's BMW parts that have been through all of the Toyota reliability tests, that went through all of the Toyota development and all of those torture tests per se. So quite frankly, it's a match made in heaven, if you ask me, and well, the proof is in the pudding, because they've clearly built a hell of a car. These things are proper weapons, and from what I've seen at least, they've proven to be extremely reliable. So all the people going, oh no, the BMW Supra, shut up. At least we have another cheat code. Audi RS3. In general, those Audi compacts are just way faster than they have any right being. I mean, I did the Audi driving experience. Was that earlier this year? It was earlier this year, yes. And they blew my mind. And well, here in general, they are just faster than you ever expect them to be. They're full race cars, road cars with heated seats, all the amenities, all the luxuries, and they keep up with some fully sorted race cars, and then they just get driven home with the aircon on. And I saw some drift cars out on the skid pan earlier, and I see one of them right here now, and I've been curious about them for the longest time. So this is what you will basically find all over the world as a regular, like, seat time drift car. 350Z, basically nothing done to the engine, welded diff, hydro handbrake, your basic safety amenities, roll cage, bucket seats, harnesses, some angle, and really that's it. This is one of the scallywags here on the banner, one of the scallywags drift schools. School cars, they host like a drift school here on the skid pan at Redstar. I actually really should do that sometime because that looks like a lot of fun. And with all the driving I do in the Corolla, I would love to know the difference in the actual like driving and handling characteristics and dynamics comparing the dirt to actual tarmac. Here comes the rest of the school cars in now. They had a little school session earlier today, so they're just backing up for the day to head home. So those are the school cars. Scallywags do have their competition cars, also 350Zs, but they're wide body, they've got LSs in them, they're way more serious. Those are their competition cars. It sucks, but drifting really slowed down in South Africa. We do have drift masters, but that's really the only thing that I'm aware of happening really. Which is sad. I mean, it's a really cool industry, but I guess it never really got the traction and the eyes that it deserved. I hope it picks up soon because I really started taking photos and everything with drifting, and I really did fall in love with it. So it really sucks that drifting has, what's the word? Shrunk. Language averts me sometimes. But here are the competition cars. They're just sort of chilling right here. So clearly you can see that one has a big wing on it, but these obviously make more power. I'm not sure which LS they have in. I think it's an LS3, but these have more weight cut out of them. They've got more serious angle kits. They've got more serious suspension. They've got more chassis bracing. There you can see sort of the rear structural bracing slash jack point. I actually haven't gotten up close and personal with these cars in years, so I can't. Anything I tell you right now is just going to be kinda, sorta, maybe, mostly just spitballing. Shit, look at that. That's a machine, that. Holy shit. Bridgestone sponsorship and everything. I'm telling you now, that's going to win the day. That Corolla right there is going to win the championship. That oak's going to pull a Takumi Fujiwara and just wipe the floor with everyone. If you do recall this from earlier in the video, I must just confess that I'm stupid, because I was like, oh no, it's still naturally aspirated. Yeah, that's definitely not a whole ass centrifugal supercharger. And the supercharger isn't even the most baller part, because if my eyes do not deceive me, those are some AP racing calipers on some two-piece discs. Being here today, I don't even know how to feel about the Opal. I'm simply experiencing emotions with regards to that car, because it is so much worse than I thought it was. Basically everything needs redoing. Brake lines shot, fuel lines shot, fuel tank, I hope it isn't shot. I need to replace both front, well, I need to replace one of the front struts, but if you're doing one, you really should do both. I'm replacing the entire rear axle.
And then we will break for lunch.
At least the shocks are new, but I'm going coilover, so the shocks will never get the opportunity to get old. I need to figure out what to do with the engine bay, the interior, the front windscreen is buggered. Then I've got all the chassis bracing that needs to happen, because those Opal chassis are basically made of cheese. In the front, it's getting stitch welded. I just need to figure out when and where to make that happen. But you also need to brace them at the top and the bottom. I need to find somebody to build me the top and bottom braces. Then I need to figure out all that stuff, because all of that can only happen after the engine is in. And not only after the engine is in, after it is completely plumbed. So the engine, exhaust, boost pipes, everything needs to happen before I can do all of that. It's just so much. Oh, and don't let me forget, every single bushing needs replacing. The steering rack needs servicing. I need to put the engine back together again. The gearbox needs to get once overed and sealed up and serviced. It's just maybe I should just throw it away. No, I'm gonna see. I'm pretty sure by the time that the Opal resembles a car again, I would have just been able to just buy a whole entire other car. Here we see a wild Chris Cratch wall in his natural habitat. And in a rare sighting, he is clad in a high-vis vest. Very rare indeed. He seems to have flocked to this E46 M3, an absolutely beautiful car. You can definitely see why the Chris Cratch was attracted to this particular vehicle. Anyways, let's look at shit boxes. A little NA 1.6 MX5. This thing had the soft top taken out of it. This actually used to belong to Jared, who is the videographer here at Vilaca. And not only did this used to belong to Mr. Jared, but that did as well. He traded this for that, and then he sold that to Redstar. This also apparently belongs to Redstar now, but this is a pretty cool little car right here. It is a Mazda 323. It used to be a 1.3 Midge, if I'm not mistaken. It's now got the gold top FE3 2-liter 16 valve Mazda motor on it with the according gearbox. And Jared, I don't know how he's done that, but he sourced some original EGI, no, the original 200i aero for this thing. It did have wing spoilers on when he bought it, but he somehow found some original kit and had that installed. But I must say, as a man from Vereniging, I'm offended by this, because this is clearly not a twin cam 16, it is a DOC 16, DOHC 16, not twin cam 16. So we have an interesting development here with this little Megane. Apparently, well, not apparently, his brakes keep glazing out in every session, so he's well, he made a plan, and apparently it's working, because this, to my understanding, is the second round that he's done this. So interesting. So if anybody has issues with brake glazing on a track day, you can contact Mr. Devon in the blue Renault for a mobile deglazing service. In the end of the day, you can make jokes all you want. If it works, it works. But if it looks stupid, but it works, it also isn't stupid. Because quite frankly, everybody is here to drive. So you're doing what you can do to get back to driving, and to driving the way you want to drive. You're not going to drive all the way out to Dalmas from, I think he lives in Boksburg. I'm not sure. I don't know everybody's address here. But you're not going to drive out all the way to Dalmas and like, oh no, my brakes are glazed, and then just sit around or go home. You're yet to drive. You're going to drive. And that is what happened there. Just doing what you can, doing what you must to get back on track and to set the time that you want to set. And in that same breath, the gentleman with the RXi here is currently welding his exhaust back together, because they went on a parts run to Dalmas to go fetch a tie rod end for the other 20 valve Corolla over here, and they hit a wonky bit of road, whacked the exhaust, and now they're doing a mobile exhaust repair here. I don't even know where he found a welder, but he has a welder, and now he is going to do stick weld his exhaust to get back on track. I mean, if I were in the situation, I would 100% have done the same. I turned my back for 5 minutes and the wheels are back on, so he's back ready to go back out on track. I don't know if you can see this, because I don't have a zoom lens equipped right now, but Mr. Devon in the blue Megane has binned it seems. Not a super dramatic moment, but he's definitely gone off and has been unable to get back on, and it seems like he's going to need a recovery. So something definitely, most likely, possibly, kind of went snap, crackle or pop. There's always something interesting going on at Redstar. Like tomorrow, there is an open bike and car track day. Today there was the drift school, and some oaks from the Grassroots drifting went to the skid pan. I ran out of breathe. All right, so the skid pan was also open for the Grassroots drifting oaks, and this is one of their cars. It's just a little E36 missile. Don't even know what engine is in it, but it's got a welded diff, I assume. The tires on the rear are basically bowled, and it just works. This is something that I need in my life. And then tomorrow there's an open car and bike track day. Some of the bikes already arriving, because there is on-site accommodation here at Redstar. Anyways, back to the missile car. I say I would love to have one, but by the time that I've got the money to buy a drift missile and have a drift missile, the E36s will probably have hugely inflated in price to the point where you just can't buy them as a missile anymore. Because the moment that a car gets outed as a good, cheap platform, within like 2 years, it just becomes a good platform. And then 2 years after that, they are just all either binned or extremely expensive. To the other guys talk about 220s, 219s, 218s the whole day, so 205. Wasn't that just your best for the day?
No.
Oh.
I'm just cooling it down. No. 20270.
20270.
Yeah.
Good grief. And just out of curiosity, what speeds are you getting down that front straight?
We're that's, yeah, about, call it 210. Yeah, somehow I'll have to look at the data,
Yeah.
but I mean...
And that's not the longest straight on here.
yeah, when you come this way, it's definitely, I think when you go down the other way, it's quicker than coming back this way.
Yeah, I'm not, like the fastest I've ever been was 205 on definitely a closed track for sure. But I've never gone that fast, so down this back straight I was not prepared and I sort of got that vertigo.
You can feel around here when we go around here.
Yeah.
I'm actually using a taller gear so that I can keep the momentum, but you can feel the cars like pushing out and we're still driving forward, so I'm like maintaining that slip angle because it's like it's slipping here, but you can feel it, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, steering with a pedal basically, if you can call it that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Steering with your right foot basically.
Yeah, you're just maintaining the little bit of like momentum, although it's like spinning, but it's still going like forward, you know what I mean?
So you're on that edge of the grip.
Yeah, you kind of just finessing it. If a little bit more and you'll start pushing it out.
Yeah.
A little bit less, you're kind of losing that, you know what I mean? But anyways, we've done like a 205 and the track's definitely worse now, you know.
I like how you're like, oh no, yeah, we're just going to do a couple of easy going laps just to get some heat in the tires for the shootout, then you go and do a 205. No, this was good fun.
It's an absolute pleasure, man.
Right, I'm still a little bit queasy, but yeah, that was good fun. Yeah, I'm a terrible passenger, so I just want to be behind the wheel. I find myself pressing the brakes into the firewall. Obviously the brakes do not exist in my case, but I find myself pressing heavily against the firewall to try and stop things. But let's not dwell on that. It was fun, it was cool. I enjoyed being able to see how this track is. It's a very cool track, very, very cool track. I look forward to driving it someday when I have a car again. So what they're doing now is basically like a final death shootout. The top 3 of each class goes out at the same time, and then those times dictate who gets the win in the end. So that's a new thing for the Vilaca. So the shootout is a new thing for the Vilaca series that they brought in this year. It's great spectatorship, especially here on Redstar where you can see everything all the time. I look forward to watching that, especially the quicker classes, because the guys push hard. Because no matter how good your times were throughout the day, you could have set the all-time track record. If you are second or third in the shootout, you are second or third for the day, and then that is what influences your championship points in the end of the day. So when the shootout comes, you basically have the 3 solidified fastest people of the day in that class on track together, and they are just hammering, because I think they have 3 laps. I'm not sure. I think they have 1 hot lap to set their time. I can't remember how that works. I'll figure it out eventually, but you know what I'm getting at. It's a sudden death round, so it makes for some very exciting driving. So I'm gonna watch that. It's not gonna translate well to camera, especially since I don't have a zoom lens, so I'm gonna end the video here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.